What's going on, everybody? Top 10 Pokemon back, and today we'll be doing some market talk, folks, about several sales that occurred this past month on CantoShark.com. Several record-breaking sales. Some of them I'm still flabbergasted by. I can't believe they sold for this much. A lot of gold star cards, a lot of vintage grails as well. I love doing videos like this, folks, because I get to talk in depth about each of these sales and how they are significant to the market right now. So yeah, this video is obviously sponsored by CantoShark.com. They sent me these sales to review, so yeah, we're going to go over each of them, starting off with this PSA 9 first edition base set Mewtwo that sold this past week or so on CantoShark.com for $3,675. Now let's take a look at some of the stats on this card. The last sale we saw was earlier this month, the first week of September, for about $3,720. So this is on par with the price point we've been seeing this card sell for. And what's interesting about first edition base set cards is that there's a lot of PSA 9s. I mean, there's 561 PSA 9 copies of this card with only 82 PSA 10s. And you will be seeing this theme with another type of card we'll discuss later in this video. So yeah, it's rare to see first edition base set holos go beyond 100 PSA 10 examples. $3,675, not too shabby, right? On to the next sale. Of course, we have this PSA 10 Mew EX Chinese exclusive card that sold on CantoShark for $17,500. And this card in PSA 10 has gone anywhere between $15,000 to about $20,000. The last auction sale was for about $19,866 back on September 11th. So yeah, like I said, it ranges anywhere between $15,000 and $20,000. And folks, let me just say, this is a very low pop card, only having 184 PSA 10 copies with only 161 PSA 9s, if I'm reading that right. And this is a card, folks, that you will never see crash. I can almost guarantee it. It's so exclusive, it's so hyped up, it's so popular. You're never gonna be like, I'm gonna wait until this PSA 10 copy is gonna go down to $1,000. It's just never gonna happen. This is always going to be, in my opinion, at least a 5-figure card as a PSA 10. Heck, we just saw a black label copy of this card sell for 6 figures. It's just that significant in this hobby right now, so I had to cover it. Up next, we have one of many Gold Star sales. Here's a PSA 9 Gold Star Charizard from EX Dragon Frontiers, sold for $16,500. And it wasn't just a week or so ago, this card sold on eBay for $13,200. So what is that, $3,300 in about a week and a half? That's not too bad. And much like the first edition base set holos, these Gold Stars are very similar in their pop reports. This card has 549 PSA 9 copies with only 98 PSA 10 examples. Very, very similar to first edition base set holos with these Gold Star cards. So yeah, Gold Star Charizard. This sale right here is nothing compared to what you're about to see, folks. Up next, we saw the sale of a PSA 10 Master Scroll Daisuki Club 8600 point promo card, sold for $19,425 big ones on CantoShark.com. And the last auction sale we saw of this card was back in July, where it sold for $14,833. And if we take a look at the pop report, folks, there are not a lot of this card graded at all, let alone in a 10. You have, only 29 PSA 10 copies with only 69 total graded by PSA. A very, very scarce card to get a hold of, let alone as a PSA 10, nearly $20,000. Up next, folks, here's where it's going to start to get really hot and heavy with some sale prices, so prepare yourself. We have a PSA 10 Gold Star Metagross from EX Delta Species. That sold for $31,500. Check this out. 10 months ago, back in December of 2024, 10 months ago, this card was selling for $6,600. Now selling for over $31,000, folks. That is a 377% increase in 10 months. Let that sink in. And it gets even crazier than that here coming up. But let that sink in, folks. For a Metagross, you got a 377% increase. That is has to be a record sale as a PSA 10. Next up, we have That's right, another Gold Star card. It's the PSA 10 Gold Star Trico from EX Team Rocket Returns. Sold this week for $36,750. And if we look back 2 months ago, not 10 months, 2 months ago, this card was selling in auction for $17,600. And this, much like the other Gold Star cards, is a very low pop PSA 10, only having 52 PSA 10 copies available. So in a matter of 2 months, folks, this card has gone up 110% in value as a PSA 10. Let's take a break from graded cards and take a look at a piece of sealed product that is very significant. It is the first edition Neo Genesis booster box, sealed of course. That's sold on CantoShark.com for an even $60,000. And folks, I don't got a lot of sales data, or at least recent sales data of this box because it's very scarce. If you want to pick one up on eBay, the lowest buy now is about $65,000, and that goes up to about $80,000. And those are the only two examples that I've seen for sale on eBay, and that's why it's important to buy from a reputable seller like Canto Shark, is because you never know what you're going to get on eBay. You know, no shade to these sellers on eBay. I'm sure that they're reputable, but when you're buying boxes like this, you want to make sure they're legit, and you want to make sure you get them from a legit seller. So yeah, $60,000, and you know what you get from this box, folks. The first edition Lugia, the first edition Typhlosion, the first edition Slowking. So many grails in this box, which is why it is so friggin' expensive. All right, folks, you ready for this sale? Because my mind's still blown after seeing the price, but we have 26 different PSA 10 Gold Star cards. Only missing one card in this lot, folks, and that is the Gold Star Torchic. But all the other Gold Stars, all other 26 of these, sold, you ready? For $861,000 on CantoShark.com. $861,000! And that's missing the most expensive Gold Star of them all, really. Yeah, so when you got cards like the Gold Star Flareon that sells for about $14,000, the Gold Star Mewtwo is about $24,000, Gold Star Espeon's like $32,000, Gold Star Pikachu $42,000, Gold Star Latios $51,000, plus you got many others like the Gold Star Charizard, the Gold Star Rayquaza. Let me break it down for you, folks. That would be $33,115 per slab. Per slab! Oh my gosh. Which leads me to the final sale we'll be covering today. It was the missing piece, the missing link to the Gold Star lot we just saw. It is the PSA 10 Gold Star Torchic that sold for a groundbreaking, record-breaking, unbelievable sale of $225,000. You heard that right, folks. That is a confirmed paid-for sale. And when we look at this guy back in December of 2024, once again, about 10 months ago, we saw a sale of $35,000. Now up to $225,000. And that would be a 543% increase on this Gold Star Torchic in 10 months. If we look at the pop report, this is one of the lowest, if not the lowest Gold Star card as a PSA 10, only having 19 PSA 10 examples. So yeah, folks, I can't help but think, do you think the person that sold the Gold Star back in December last year is kicking themselves in the butt because now it sells for over $200,000? I know I would be losing some sleep if I was that seller. But man, that was an absolutely insane sale. So altogether, folks, if you put the Gold Star Torchic in the other lot, you're looking at over $1 million worth of Gold Star cards. That's where we're at. Folks, what do you think of this video? What do you think of these sales from CantoShark.com? I love covering more buy it now sales because I usually do auctions, but let me know what you thought of these sales in the comments below. I still can't get over that Gold Star lot. Thanks for tuning in, folks. I really appreciate it. Go check out CantoShark.com because clearly that's where all the good stuff is being sold. That's all I got for you today. I'll catch you in my next one.